challenge is these two classes are large, over 200 students. And how do I get it more interactive? How do I engage? Rather than me talk, you listen, how do I get the students more engaged?
We read a lot of books, obviously, but I want them to see the geography of cities as well. And when Google Earth's technology came around, Google Maps, and especially now there's Street View, I was just like, I was waiting for those.
I want something to be able to interact with the students to find out what are they thinking right now. Part of what they need to learn is how to assess the quality of their own understanding.
So you have to be prepared to spend a lot of hours to get that perfect video segment. But the nice thing is once it's done, it's there, can be reused and reused again.
This mode of creating links into the document, particularly transcribing lectures to make it searchable, I mean, that's the key for us. And then from there, finding ways to open it up through the web. That's the vision that we've been working with in this course, trying to get as much value out of these new texts as possible.
Hello, if I may have your attention please. I'd like to welcome all of you to the first lecture.
We've created this course which brings together two classrooms and for us to have the sense of being in the same room together. And it's looking at themes of religion, politics, that obviously are connecting societies across this arena. One of the key tools that we've tried to develop is a digital lecture library for the course, which complement the lectures that are happening in class. And so we select out key terms, concepts, personal names, as well as geospatial references that occur within this particular lecture. All of this is meant to create a kind of environment in which students can do their own searches for a particular date or a particular concept they find interesting. They can analyze the material in their own way.
I was still teaching a course back in Calgary and had to develop the online course. And one of the things I've done for the students, which I found very helpful, is actually record sections where students can actually review the same material at their leisure, at their own pace.
We have erroneously concluded that fresh popcorn tastes different.
And I found that Trunk has allowed me to go two-dimensional, where I can organize my material as a two-dimensional matrix, given dates and also the course material. So students have actually full access up front. And so all my narrations are done in Adobe Presenter, where I can upload video clips all together onto my dashboard and at students' fingertips. And so a lot of my examples have to do with food products and food ideas. And of course, we're near to the Friedman School of Nutrition, so food makes sense. But it's something that levels the playing field. So I use M&Ms to demonstrate visually the concept of probability.
Physics 11 is a calculus-based introduction to physics. And using the clickers let me, during lecture, get in the moment information back from the students about what they're thinking and how they're understanding. So a very typical thing is I find out that, boy, there's not agreement, and I'll say, well, somebody sitting near you disagrees with you, so see if you can understand their point of view, and they'll try to understand your point of view, and you try to convince each other.
We see that the magnitude of the force exerted by the wall on the ladder.
They watch this 15-minute, 20-minute pre-lecture. The evening before, they have what are called checkpoint questions. And then every morning before lecture, I spend an hour, sometimes more, reading through their answers to these questions. So I get all this data back about where they're thinking, what they're confused about, what they understand. So in a way, the conversation's already started before our time together starts. That's the most valuable thing.
So I teach Intro to Geographic Information Systems. Then the other course I teach is called Cities in Space, Place, and Time. It's a required class for urban and environmental policy graduate students. So we're accumulating these spatial tools that allow you to, create maps or some other kind of geographic exploration. And what I found is a lot of students, they're so knowledgeable about technology and, quickly how to use it and pressing this and pressing that, but they actually don't understand the deeper value in it. So the idea that we can use Google Earth to look historically at U.S. urban policy. For example, we talk about the various highway building policies in the 1950s and 60s, where the federal government and state governments, federal government was funding it, major highways through cities, which often went through African American communities and displaced, thousands and thousands of African Americans. We can really see that that happened. And basically, as we've sort of found out in the course, if you knew where African American urban communities were in the 1940s, you know where the major highway interchanges would go in the 1950s and 60s. I want them to be able to, be walking down the street and be able to look at the places around them and understand that everything they see was a result of somebody's decision in the past.
I get satisfaction from seeing the light bulb go on and seeing a student learn something or discover something. And much of what I teach is there's that opportunity comes up over and over again. And with computers and engineering, I found that there's a threshold of around 40 to 50 students, class size of that size. I can't learn the names of everybody at that level. So how am I going to deal with 200? And I don't want to point to the person in the red shirt, and I don't always want to point to the person in the front row who's got their hand raised. So I came up with this Who button. It's a program I wrote that's embedded in PowerPoint, and it randomly brings up some student's name. My software records the name of the student and the time and date and what their response was, and I can look at that at the end of the semester. I primarily use it as a motivator to get students to be interactive, to get engaged, motivate them to come to class, to know that they might be called upon. It's less to intimidate somebody. Last year I introduced eye clickers, and that's been immediate feedback to me of how well material is being understood, and it's also given that immediate feedback to the students, and it also is a motivator to come to class and to participate. As far as my advice to faculty, I'd say start small, ask colleagues, try a few simple things and get some successes early on, and then expand out. Make it available for files to be downloaded. Try some technology in the classroom, but don't let it overpower you.